Hi, everybody. I am Raquel, and this is
David,
my husband. Hello, Mamacita Ministries. We were asked to bring you guys some answers to some questions, and we're excited to share with you guys. So, yeah. So we met. Where we met?
So we met in New York City. We are from New York City. We grew up there. We met through similar circles of friends. We're both in ministry, and through that circle, we got to meet each other, and that's where it started.
Yeah. So in other words, we met through Facebook, y'all.
Yeah, we met through Facebook.
We just met through Facebook.
Yep.
He used to invite me to events, and because I was in leadership, he was in leadership and ministries, and then that's how we got together and we met. And there's a funny story behind that, but we'll talk about that another time. We have 2 kids, a boy and a girl.
Ethan and Isabella.
Yes.
So one is 8, one is 6.
Yeah, so that means we've been married for...
We're going on 10 years this September.
September 3rd. So y'all can send some gifts or stuff, okay?
10 years.
So we'll start off with what we think our virtues are. So I can start, okay? So David is the mellow to my jello. And I just really think that's
the fuel. So if we're a rocket, Raquel's the fuel. So she is the
spark to your fire.
There you go.
Hey, yes. So for David, I'll just give you a brief description. So he's basically, I'm very just not everywhere, but just really enthusiastic about everything and passionate. And he would just bring me back to reality because I'm a big dreamer.
I'm the planner, so she dreams it up, and I got to figure out how to make it work. How we gonna get there? What route we gotta take?
So we're a good team. Yeah. But his leadership qualities, his devotion, honestly, is what I think. I think that's the best thing I have learned, and his wisdom. So those are the top 3 things of David. I say for sure are definitely amazing. So what do you think my virtues are?
So definitely a big dreamer, has been huge in our family. Always pushing the boundaries, looking way beyond what's, reality right now. But that's something that we need in our home, right? Because I don't know, it's much more super creative, outside the box, no boundaries. And even though I'm a creative, I'm definitely color inside the lines type of thing. So we're both creatives in that sense, and we both have big hearts and big dreams about things that we feel are possible, and we feel like God is doing in our lives. But she dreams that much more than me specifically. So that helps us, really push forward. And getting outside your comfort zone is not a bad thing. And I believe that the more that you can stretch yourself, I believe that God can do that much more incredible things in your life. And we have seen it. So without that, we're probably maybe half of what we are able to accomplish. So
so being in a creative industry, we're business owners, but David works also in ministry. So we're that's where all that, and we're parents and we run a house. So yeah, y'all, it can get crazy sometimes. Let's get to the itty gritty questions. Sorry, what was the most stressful thing in our wedding? And what was the most joyful versus the most joyful? So we don't really have a typical wedding. We didn't have a typical wedding. So we honestly didn't want a big wedding.
Here's the breakdown. We got married in Central Park in New York City at the band shell.
Yes.
Totally awesome outdoor ceremony. We
invited everybody to the ceremony. Everybody was invited.
40, 50-ish, maybe 60-ish friends and family that came by were part of the ceremony. And then afterwards, we rented out a restaurant out in Riverdale, looking over the Trisboro Bridge. And fantastic view. It was great. We rented out the back part of that restaurant that oversaw the bridge. And it was cool, perfect timing, because they were looking to get into the wedding space. And so we were one of the first couples that, that they were
so we got a good deal.
So we got a fantastic deal. And, but it was much more close. After that, I think the reception part of it was 25, 26 people.
Now we invited everybody, but we reserved a certain amount of tables that we were gonna pay for, and we
Her parents, my
very
parents.
very untraditional, y'all. We kind of probably is tacky for some of y'all, but
we kept it intimate. For us, it was.
We said
perfect.
anybody was able to come if y'all pay for your own plate, and y'all could have a dinner with us, but y'all pay for y'all plate. So. It was kind of weird.
You don't have to
give us a gift. We were not really looking for that. We just wanted fellowship time. And really, that's who we are.
Yeah.
We love to break bread with
covered
people.
The closest 25 people, which were our parents, her parents, her siblings, my grandparents that came from Ecuador.
Right.
You know, and close friends that we literally went to their house often, and they went to our house often.
Yeah.
And we spent, you know, we did life together, and we kept that circle very, very small. And even though she knows a lot of people, I know a lot of people, the reality is that we wanted to keep it very, you know, much more.
So no stress.
Intimate. No stress. Yeah.
It was all joy. Like, I remember everything. In our wedding. So I think the only stressful time, just to be relatable, the only stressful time was when my flowers got damaged because somebody accidentally put it in the freezer. And my sister, my amazing sister, went out and got me a new bouquet, and she put it together. So she's amazing. Thank you, sis. I love you. Hey. Yep. So that was the only stressful time, though. Yeah. Everything was good.
Other than that, hardest thing of marriage.
What do you think?
I mean, it's communication.
Oh my God, I was gonna say the same thing.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Like, one thing you guys need to know about us is that, you know, our mindsets and the major things in life are very much on the same path, right?
Yeah.
So, ministry, family, business. We're all on the same page. Like,
not ministry, I would say God. Like, that's what you meant to say.
God.
Yes, you meant to say God.
We had the same thoughts on it. So separately, we had the same thoughts of how we saw it, how we would like to see it, you know, in our lives. And so when we got married, it's like we're heading the same direction already. So we don't argue about those things. It's more just, you know, habits, personalities, type of things. So smaller things, right? That every couple, you know, kind of gets bugged about, you know, why you're leaving your sock over there or whatever, you know, small little things. So for us, communication.
Or why you don't put the spices back in the thing.
Right.
Like, you know, those simple things. Or why you don't close the door.
Yeah.
So
for us, communication, I think has been a challenge for the simple fact that I grew up very different. She grew up different than, like, the way she grew up and the way I grew up were kind of different. Like, our dynamics with family, our dynamics with other people, family, friends, was just different. And so understanding that just because you grew up differently doesn't mean I understand what that means, and vice versa, right? And so learning how to mesh how I communicate versus how she receives it, and the way she communicates and the way I receive it has probably been the most challenging part of our marriage. Has been that. It's just, you know, you can't force somebody to be you, and you just have to learn how to work through that. And that's been, you know, we have good success stories, and then we've had stuff we continue to work on.
Yeah, the biggest thing, like, the advice that kind of ties into it, because I was gonna say the same thing, communication. And we've seen that in a lot of couples that they really just don't communicate. And I think that after 9 years of marriage, we're still dealing with it. Like, it's not perfect. And I think that a lot of the times, people think that that's something that's just automatically like, oh, you finally will be in sync and you guys can complete each other's sentences. Y'all, if y'all could do that at this point in y'all marriage, kudos to y'all. Please go teach it to other people, okay? But I think that it depends on the season you're in too. Yeah. Like, you're going through certain seasons in your marriage that now you have to shift the way how you contact each other. Like, I remember, like, we would contact each other only through email sometimes. Mm-hmm. And because our schedules were so, like, out of whack. And then sometimes our date nights,
giving each other information, like, hey,
right,
we need to do this, like, not that, like, that's how we communicate, like, at home. It's that way we're not emailing each other, but, like, to give impertinent information, you know.
I didn't. Yes, I'm sorry. Like, I know.
Like,
I'm sorry. I gotta clap.
Don't talk to me. I'm gonna email you. No, we talk. But we communicate about what's happening in our family.
Right. Our schedules were
business,
so
everything.
like crazy that we had to communicate through an email, like of what we did today and what we needed each other to do. And then even sometimes, like, I'm very much like the one that would be like, oh, let's sit down and have a meeting about our feelings and how yeah, you can't do that. So I really came into marriage thinking that it was gonna be flowers and daisies all the time, and he was gonna be able to complete everything that I was. Oh, my other half. But that wasn't the
totally
reality.
right.
That wasn't the reality. The reality was that even when we're in marriage, we're changing, and we're changing for the better. It's something amazing because we're changing for the better. We just decided to never have a plan B. We don't have a plan B. We don't have a plan C. We don't have a plan D, not to Z. There's like no way out of this. Like, it didn't matter. And we've gone through rough times. And maybe another time we can express that. But like, that's something that we have always made sure that we needed to do, and we still struggle with it, is communication.
Yeah.
Like, and we've realized every season has a different type of communication style. Yeah. It really does.
We learn so much, and we, it's like, it's weird because you get better and you just find new ways to mess it up. Right? So, because we're big learners, like we are active learners, and to do personal development, right? For for leadership, for business, to grow our mindsets, because we are called to be leaders. Like naturally she's a leader, naturally I'm a leader, and we're actively learning to do those things and be effective, and yet we apply it to our relationship and our marriage, but we still find ways to mess that up, and we have to find new ways. It's just
or implement the ways that we do. So number one thing is you have to learn how to communicate and be okay with what the form of communication that you guys have to adjust to, like how that's gonna look, and figure that out while you're trying to communicate. I think number two, the second advice that we learned was we had to be around the right people. Like us, our business community, the people that we were able to associate with and had to that was like a amazing door opening for us. That was really the big pull of what got us to this point. Like he described about the reading books and stuff like that. We actually that's something I would advise. Like, don't be afraid to read a book about communication. Don't be afraid to read a book about relationships. Don't be afraid to study that, because that can open up your mind to understand your spouse, and then for your spouse to understand you. But our surroundings, we were able to see marriages in our faces, like full-blown marriages, like being amazing. We've seen 15 years of marriage and 20 years of marriage and 30 years of marriage. So in that arena with that business association that we have, we had that example of what it looked like, and couples that wanted to be with each other.
And also examples of what not to do.
But let me finish that one first. So we saw that marriage wanted to be with each other, that they wanted to spend time with each other, that they wanted to build a legacy for each other, that they had God in the center of their relationship. So we had that example. And then we also had that example of
the things we didn't want to emulate. So you would see couples, and it's like, you want to learn from people, right? And you want to learn, strategies, and you want to be inspired by other people. And so we just learned to get around more people that seem to inspire us, right? Which was either by what they were saying, right, about their vision for their homes and the big dreams about what they wanted to accomplish, inspired us to want to be better. And so we just got around more of those type of people versus people that were just constantly arguing or being negative or fighting and just kind of bickering type of thing. That's not what we want to emulate. And so it's we want to be able to be friends with everyone, but we keep our circle just much more secure. We got to be conscious of who we're associating with. That's a big part of our home. We're very guarded about the time that we spend with people, because we read often from very successful people. It's who you are in the next 5 years is based on the books that you read and the people that you spend the most time with. And so we're just very active of who are we going to spend time with? Are they going to inspire us? Are they going to push us? Right? Not because they're going to tell us what to do, but because by what they're doing, it makes us want to strive more.
Right.
you know what? Let's not get comfortable where we're at. Let's keep pushing forward. So we're just actively trying to be around other people that we can also hopefully inspire.
Right.
You know, and like we feel like there's a good blend of that. So.
And sometimes it doesn't look like that. Like on a daily basis, sometimes he doesn't want to stretch out and want to do stuff, and then sometimes I don't. But as long as we know that the vision or the end goal is the same, and we're all going toward the same directions, the journey of getting there is not going to look pretty. But we know we're going to get there, and we know that God has called us to be together to live out the mission and the vision that God has given us. So I think those are the two advices. And then one of the last ones I would say is, in a marriage, the reason why we don't have a plan B or a plan C or whatever, any other plan, is because we had the same vision. Like our vision was the same. We were both like in love with Jesus, okay? We were both wanting to make sure that we knew God and that our mission was for him to be known. Like that is what our mission was. We were like so engulfed with saying that is why we are here, the purpose, the vision of why we are here. Now our mission may look different than your mission, but that is, every single Christian should have that same vision of getting to heaven, right? Knowing God while we're here on earth so we can get to heaven and bring everybody else with us. You know, so we had that same thing.
Even you know, at times like your mission is very specific as to, you know, what God is calling you to do at that moment, which may be something different that I'm doing at that moment. But collectively, we're still accomplishing that household goal, or, you know, the household calling for our lives. But at times she'll do a project that's, you know, that she feels like that's what God's leading her to do, and she'll go do that. And the same with me. And so there's times where we're kind of do two things at one time, or sometimes we're like focused on doing one thing together. And it's okay. Like, you got to figure it out with your spouse and your partner. You got to figure it out. Like, you got to make it work. Like, you got to be supportive of each other. Like, if that's what you need to do, you go do it. Like, you know, 100%. And that's part of what creates that unity, because you feel, again, I know where we're going. She knows where we're going. We know where we're going together. And you can celebrate in the victories, and you can be encouraged and learn from, you know, the disappointments or the moments that you do fail, right? Because I mean, you have to fail in order for you to grow, and in order for you to achieve success. There is failure part of it, and so we've experienced that in the projects that we've tried to do. Sometimes it's very successful, and sometimes it's not, and it's okay. Like, we learn from them and we get better, and it allows us to take on bigger challenges, and I think that's where we really thrive as a couple.
So and that's a good point. The fact that, you know, we're both in ministry, right? But his mission in ministry kind of looks different than mine. So I like more smaller, intimate things, when he likes to be behind the scenes and stuff. So like it just looks different, but we're both going towards the same direction. So sometimes in life is like that too. Like, our vision is the same and our mission for our family as a whole is the same, but our tasks are different. So it looks different for each of us in the roles that we're playing within the home. So like, even in business, like, he will be doing something and then I'll be doing something, but we're going towards the same target. Yeah, so that's our advice. That's our story. Number one, communicate. Number two, what was it? Oh, be around the right people. Okay. And then number three is have a vision and a mission. And that you guys can like literally go back to that drawing board and remember why you guys were planted together. You need to have that. So in those tough times, you can look at that board and say, that's why we're here. That's why we're doing
you're
what
reminded.
we're doing.
So the moments that, you know, life gets tough, and the moments where you kind of feel like, well, you know, where are we in life? You can look at that, and it's kind of like that center point, like, okay, let's go back to that, because that's where you're truly fulfilled as a couple. That's where you're truly fulfilled as people, right? Individually, she's an individual, I'm an individual, right? And so sometimes, like, she needs to be fulfilled in the things that, you know, her gifts and talents, and likewise. And so that helps you to kind of recalibrate yourself. There's times where you need to in life.
Yeah. I hope you enjoyed this.
Yep.
We love you guys. Definitely always listen to Mamacita Ministry. She's amazing. Her family, oh my gosh. So thank you for watching.
Thank you so much.
Bye.